Hey, I'm Fernando, and for a week 7 discussion, we need to discuss that we've been hired as the chief of security for a large high school district, and the chairman of the Board of Education has told me to prioritize the reduction in gangs, gang violence, and gang activity. So, some suggestions or recommendations that I would implement for the students. One would be maybe to have the students, follow a certain dress code. Um, have the dress code for basic or neutral colors. Maybe like khaki pants or black pants with a white dress shirt. Have something basic because certain gangs follow certain colors. You can say, for example, like the Bloods follow, a red colorway, the Crips follow blue colorway, etc., etc. So having students just follow one certain dress code and not have anybody look different than the others, that way you can just neutralize things in the school and not have any, troubles with that. Um, Another thing I would implement would maybe be, have a clear and controlled entryway and exits. Um, maybe have metal detectors or have certain security cameras pointed in certain areas. Have adults or teachers, um, I guess, supervising when the students are changing class within the hallways or whenever they're in break or whenever they're waiting in the morning to start classes. So do something. You don't. I personally wouldn't want the school to feel like it's a prison, but if it got to the point where gang activity or gang violence is like up there, you need to do something to control who's coming in, who's coming out, what are they bringing in, what are they taking out. You don't want, God forbid, a student to bring in a knife or a gun or something because of some silly gang stuff. um Another thing, maybe just have special counseling for students that are troubled you know with gang related activity. Maybe they're not involved in it, but maybe in the neighborhood that they live, a gang might harass the students. So, have special counseling for these kids. Um, Another thing that I would implement is maybe having, after school programs because, the gang itself might not be in the school, but when these students get out of class, they're going to their homes and, some of the neighborhoods aren't the best neighborhoods. So you got a kid doesn't have anything to do after school, you know, eventually someone in that gang is going to talk to him and be like, hey, come hang with us and do this and that. So having an after school program can, deter these kids from being involved in activities that they shouldn't be involved in. Um, and that could help the student out in the long run because they don't need to get involved with these things. Another thing, get the parents involved, within the community. Let them know what the school is doing. Let them know how the school's handling these situations to reduce this violence. Let the parents put their own input into the school and let them know. Let the parents say what they want with their kids or what they want the school to do for their kids. Um, Maybe you know, have an ex gang member come to the school and talk with the students, like tell them that's not what they want to do for the rest of their lives, because eventually, students or kids that do fall into that trap, they're just gonna live a miserable life. Either they're gonna end up dead or in jail, and that's honestly what it'll boil down to. So, you don't want a kid doing that. So that's some things that I would implement or recommend if I was a security chief within that school district.